Hey, there we go. I'm still getting used to this system. Every day is an adventure for me. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 407 of the Maritime Paintball Podcast, brought to you live on 97.9 FM CHSR out of Fredericton, New Brunswick, as well as live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Just look us up at Maritime Paintball Podcast. I mean, if you're watching this live, obviously you know where we are. I am joined by the very fantastic Corey, the coach. Can we just call you Coach?
Hey.
Is that a thing? No, or is that too much?
The French guys call me Coach. You can call me Corey.
Okay.
Oh.
I'm going to just call you Corey. Brittany's already asking, where is Thomas? Thomas had to take care of some business, so he is unavailable tonight. Does nobody care about me? I'm here. Corey's here. Or is Tom like the whole reason anybody watches this show? Which is a legitimate thing. Anyways, folks, we're going to be talking with Corey tonight. We're talking about coaching. What's it like to coach a paintball team? So, it's going to be, it's very good. Sorry, my brain is mush tonight. It's going to be informative and exciting. And Lead Farmer says no one calls him Coach. Well, maybe I'm going to call him Coach. Be like the French guys and call him Coach. No, I'm not. Yeah. It feels weird. I got to call you Corey. I've been calling you Corey for years. I got to just stick with that.
Stick with it.
Yeah, Brittany says, fair. I hope Tom's okay, and I live with you, unfortunately. Yeah, well, you know what? I got nothing. I wouldn't want to live with me either. So, Corey, let's get a little bit of background, bud. Let's talk, how long you've been playing, that kind of thing. Just give us, the Cliff Notes of your paintball career up to this point.
I've been playing for over a decade now. Really only got better in the late 20-teens. And these days I find myself spending a lot of time running CPS and then coaching with Quebec Nordiques while I play on Luxury. So it's been a bit of a busy summer so far, and coaching has definitely been quite the experience this year.
So walk me through how you got involved with coaching. How does that work? Did you just wake up one day and be like, everybody sucks, I'm going to make it better?
So the first time I got into coaching was with the Saloki Saints. They asked me if I could help them get a little bit better. They just kind of said hey Corey, you're shooting us in the face more than we're shooting you. So can you come help us get better for MIPL? So I said, hey, you know what, why not? So started coaching them in a gymnasium before they even got out to the paintball field.
Okay, let's walk through that. Let's stop for a second. How do you coach them in a gymnasium? Run me through that.
So they just had indoor runners on, and we had reballs.
Okay. So they were still playing paintball essentially, but they were playing reball.
Yeah, they were playing reball inside. So
okay.
They'd get like a hopper and a pod, and then they'd all have to go picking up paintballs or their reballs off the ground.
You guys didn't have a runner going around with the little wheelie thing that picks the balls up?
No wheeler. But that's because when I started coaching them, it was the middle of the winter.
Okay.
So obviously no indoors in the area, so they were forced to play reball.
I mean, reball's not a bad spot of it. I've played a few games of reball. I found that it was actually kind of fun being able to play indoors. The reballs do not agree with most paintball markers, though. I found that.
Yeah, they definitely don't.
So that sucked.
Yeah,
it was.
definitely.
I mean, I enjoyed it, but it's still gummed up your eyes and all that jazz. So I think.
Yeah, and I think they used hand sanitizer to lube the reballs through their rental guns, so it was really not pretty. I feel like that would just. Guns.
I feel like that would just dissolve the reball itself, or get sticky. And then,
oh yeah, they got sticky. It was
right, and then it's just gumming up the. Also, I don't think alcohol is supposed to touch the O-rings of anything. That just doesn't sound like a smart idea at all.
Yeah, so that was an interesting experience, but things got a lot easier once the summer rolled around.
Okay.
And they started going out. At that time, they were floating between marked and commando, but then they settled on commando.
Ooh. No, I'm just kidding. That's cool, man. Okay, so basically you had a bunch of guys just being like, we want to play like you. Can you teach us? That's cool, man.
Yeah, very humbling experience. Like, you know, just to have someone say, hey, you know, you're doing well, you're shooting us, we want you to help us get there as well.
I love that.
Saw the teams do a lot better once they had like that organizational voice to say like, hey, here's the 5 guys, this is the play, go out there and go get it. You know, hey, we want to push the snake hard this point, or hey, let's lock down the snake and push the Doritos. It really helped them having that like direction. And but Saints was always a team for MIPL. They do decent during the regular season, and then during finals, it was always double elimination. So you lose one bracket, and then you're in the losers bracket.
Right.
They had a nice habit of dropping to the losers bracket and then going all the way to finals.
So okay. So what you're saying is that they were pretty good, but when it got down to it, they kind of choked. Like they didn't have. Well,
they yeah, in like the easy match, they'd choke, but once their back was against the wall, they could just push it all the way.
Okay. I see what you're saying. They always they bring it in the last minute, that kind of thing. Like they need that.
They play well under pressure.
Yeah, they need that little bit of fear. Like they got to be on that edge of being knocked out to really sharpen them up.
Yeah.
That's not a good way to play.
It's definitely a stressful way to play.
Yeah. So, in your years of coaching, we're gonna bounce back and forth between. I want some war stories from you. I want to hear about your successes and your failures. We gotta show both sides of the real world here. But what do you find is one thing that a lot of teams lack? Like maybe let's say in the beginning, like say somebody puts together a speedball team, you know, in the lower division, that kind of thing, you know, or higher division. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Newer team.
I think like one thing that definitely stumps the growth on a team once they get out of that like Division 5 level.
Mm-hmm.
Is a lot of teams say, you know, you have your team captain, and it's like your team captain who plays on the team is calling the play, and then you're all going out there on the field. But once you get up to, say, D4 X-Ball, where you really need someone to have the overall image of the game as their job, it's really easy to lose that if you're playing on the team as well. Because then you're out there in the front line instead of watching like, oh hey, here's where they broke out this time compared to last time. Okay, they broke these three bunkers this time. We know we can shoot a guy going to this bunker, so let's really key up on that guy so that we can push the snake side harder, right? You know, it's harder to see that when you're on the field playing. So having that person who's just there to worry about the game strategy for that first 15-20 seconds of gameplay, trying to get the best breakout, that can get lost if you don't have someone who's designated just to coach.
That makes a lot of sense. You need that bird's eye view. You need that impartial. They're not running on. Well, I guess they're running on a bit of adrenaline, but they're not running on as much adrenaline. They're not as tired. Their body's not as tired. Their mind's not as tired. So you need that person who can buzzer goes and they can watch just the other team and see what's up. So that makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. Got to manage the paint. Got to manage the pit crew, because the pit crew's got to have all the paint ready, and they've got to be cleaning people off as they come out.
Now that's something I've always loved watching, like watching on Go Sports, right? And when they go into the pits and you watch the players come off, and it's like an F1 crew, where the player is like he's talking to somebody, and the marker leaves his hand, a new one enters his hand, his pod pack is just suddenly refilled, and his mask is clean. And he hasn't done anything. It's like it's actually more like the scene from Iron Man when the suit comes off him. Like it's like it's all automated. Is that something the coach handles? Like do you look after that as the coach? Is there any like training or practice for that, or is it just experience?
So it's more from experience and knowing how you like to run a pit. Some teams like Luxury, when we go to an event, we have one of our teammates, his father Mike. He's like he's a one-man machine. He can do it all. He just does all the paint and all that stuff, and the guys got to take care of getting themselves cleaned off. So getting your teammates cleaned off, so that's pretty easy.
Mm-hmm.
But teams like the Nordiques, where we have a D4 and a D3 team, our schedules usually work so that we can have one team pitting for the other while they play.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So when we can do that, everybody buddies up. So I'll usually have 2 assistant coaches. I have 2 assigned on each team.
Mm-hmm.
So two D4 guys help me coach the D3 guys, and 2 D3 guys help me coach the D4 guys. So I've always got 2 guys with me. They make sure the pit's running smoothly so that I can focus on the teams and the game.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Now, do you find it's beneficial having your pit crew be players?
Well, they understand what the other players need, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you have family and friends that come in and help in a pit, once they get a couple of reps, they know what they're doing. So they don't need to be paintballers per se. It's like any job. With a couple of reps, you get better.
Yeah. That's cool.
If you got a friend who wants to come, who's like, oh, Wasaga Beach sounds cool to go to, or, like, oh, going down to Atlantic City. Well, hey, if you come down and you fill pods, you can come down and stay with the team. It's as easy as that.
Yeah. It's like, oh man, I want to visit Wasaga Beach. Cool, man. Do you want to hang out in a really hot tent? That'd be like, why does, hold on, I've got comments coming through. Christian Mitchell keeps saying, well, one, he said, Corey is my lover. And then he said, can we talk about Corey in Connecticut? And then ask about Corey, CC, just us. What a time. Yeah. What happened in Connecticut? Yeah. Or is this like what happened in Connecticut stays in Connecticut? What do we?
Oh, no. So this is early February last year. I went out to Connecticut with the Just Us camp. And we had a Saturday practice, and then Sunday we were playing against all the U.S. teams out there at Matt's Outback. And we were playing, and some of the D3, D2 teams that were playing that day, they were like, hey, what division do you guys play, and where are you guys from? We just had to tell them, oh, we're playing Division 4 up in Canada. So they're like, wait, Division 4? What do you mean? But the team was just playing really well together. So it was our first weekend together. Everybody did their homework for what the communication was going to be, and we had the day before to practice. So I think it being everybody's first day back out for everybody down there, we just we gave it to them rough. Yeah, we were cooking on that layout.
Okay, so your team came in fully prepared, warmed up, ready to go, and the other guys was still kind of like day one.
Yeah, they couldn't take that smoke.
There you go. There you go. They couldn't take the Canadian smoke.
No.
How do you decide on bunker names?
So bunker names really just depends on the camp. Funny, a lot of arguments have started because of what you're gonna name bunkers. Okay, so I know Luxury, it's pretty easy. It's been the same calls for quite a while, so we don't have to worry about those. The Nordiques, we use bunkers like Quebec, Nordique. We use Apple, Orange, Kiwi, Batman, Robin, Joker.
Oh yeah, that narrows it down.
Yeah, we have code words for once we get, if you get to a certain spot in the snake, we have certain objectives for each layout. So say we get at the 50 brick, they have a code word to say, hey, I'm here and I'm alive. Let's get the other parts of the plan in order. Okay. So it's instead of trying to scream across the speedball field while
there's hundreds of balls in the air instead of screaming like, "Hey, I'm in the snake," and telling the other guy in the snake that you're there. You're just hollering out a single word means I'm at this checkpoint now.
Exactly.
That's cool. That's cool. I love that. That's
like,
super smart.
Like, it's very beneficial to have code words for, hey, we want to push the snake side. Okay, let's make a code word for that. So that instead of being like, hey guys, we should push the snake side, and yelling that for the other team to hear, then you yell the code word and you look at your homie and you're like, hey, I want to do this.
So you just like
say it in code and they go, okay.
So you just like look over at your dude back in like back corner and just like pineapple, and he knows what you're thinking, and you just go.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's like playing with the Nordiques, coaching for them. So while we're at the event, the guys on the team, most of them understand French. Yeah. So if I'm calling, you know, if I think they're going to go to the snake corner, the Dorito corner, or if they're going to go up the middle, I'll call the code words in French. So then the guys know the code words, and we know most of the Americans don't understand French. So then if I want one of the guys to switch from, you know, like running to a spot, I can tell him to run to a spot shooting in French, and most of the Americans won't know what I'm saying.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That ain't gonna fly if you ever play international. Like, I mean, it might fly for a couple of games, and then it's just, yeah. I love that. That's I always knew that there was the bunkers had their names. I never thought of code words for I'm in this position and alive, or I want to push this bunker hard, or that kind of thing. Like, that's clever.
Yeah. So you have code words for, hey, you know, I want to push the Dorito side. So if I'm the one on the Dorito side and I'm at the D50, I could turn and call a code word to say, hey, I'm at the 50 Dorito and I'm alive. So then if I call that code word, the guys on the snake side understand, okay, he's at the 50 Dorito, and he's going to be soaking a certain amount of pressure. Yep. So me getting to the 50 snake should be that much easier, because now they're worried about my guy at the 50 Dorito.
Right.
So then once you can start getting there, you know, it's how well did you and your team prepare for that layout? Right? Like, what kind of standard operating procedures do you have in place? It's like in MAO, we had the SOP that if we have a guy in the snake up to the snake 50, let's get a second guy out to the snake corner, because there was like an outside beam that went all the way down the side of the snake. So we called that the Cobra. So we would so none of the D4 teams did it until our morning prelim game, where I sent one of the guys to go jump over the outside beam and crawl all the way down, and then come up in the back line and shoot all the guys in the back. So we did that, and then all the teams started doing it. But then come Sunday, I told the guys, okay, so the teams have scouted us. They know we like this play. So the first point in the morning, we brought the guys over, and we were playing Sunday sleepers. They beat us in the prelims 3-2. So we're playing them in our Ochos game on Sunday. And I told the guys, I'm like, hey, listen, before this game, don't use the Cobra play until you do this. So I was like, get to the snake. So we'd go to the snake 50. We'd wrap and try to get a guy, soak that pressure. Once we soak that pressure, we'd back up to the snake 2, at which point I was having the guys jump the beam and go all the way down on Saturday. So the teams all watched us. So I'm like, get back to the snake 2 and just nudge that beam with your elbow. So then, lo and behold, Mark hits the beam with his elbow and gets posted, and a guy comes running through, just jumping over the beam, looking for someone to bunker, because he thought he was crawling the beam. So then he just got absolutely roasted. and then the guys filled the outside and went all the way. So it's like,
you baited him in.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that.
So we finished our prelim games on Saturday, and we went 2-2 in prelims. And because of the amount of points we scored, we just made it as the 14th seed into Ochos. So we were the wild card going into Ochos.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, so the Nordiques guys, we got back to the house on Saturday night with the D4 guys, and I'm like, okay, boys, we made it through. We're completely changing the game plan. This is the new game plan.
It's like, great, we've done that. We're burning it. We're never doing it again because they're expecting it. Move on.
Exactly. But you know what? We switched to doing more like field advantage tactics. So we were pushing objectives like getting into the snake, but instead of pushing down the snake, we realized that from the snake one, you actually had a really gnarly shot on anybody trying to move up in the Doritos.
Okay.
So we'd get into that spot, but we'd have one guy go to the 50 snake and one guy hit the snake one to look at that cross. So teams seeing us in the 50 snake, they'd be like, okay, we need to push up this Dorito side and match that field spread, right?
Yeah.
So, but then lo and behold, we had Mark on the cross and eating up bodies.
Yeah, he's just knocking them down as they're trying to counter your snake, but your boy in the cross is just dropping them.
Exactly. So our Ocho's match against Sunday Sleepers, again, they beat us in the prelims 3-2. We smoked them. They couldn't take the pressure in Ocho's.
Couldn't take the pressure.
They couldn't take the pressure. Yeah. That's the team. The center player just came running through because they thought we were already in the outside beam.
That's pulling the trigger a little too quick on that run, just a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, the guy's trying to get an overshooting penalty, but he did it like 10 seconds into the point with 5 people alive. Like, dude, you're gonna get roasted.
Yeah, I was gonna say, dude just got demolished, just bonused balled all to hell. Man, oh man! For anybody joining us just now, we're on 97.9 FM CHSR. We're talking with Corey Lamkin, talking about coaching paintball. For those of you who have never played or if you're new to the sport, there are coaches. There is professional paintball. It does happen. Now, Corey, what division do you coach again? You coach D4.
D4 and D3.
And D3. Okay. Wicked. So for anybody who doesn't know, it's the higher the number, the lower the division. Like it's D5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and then just from there. It's a little backwards. I'm not sure why they did it that way.
Yeah.
But anyways, I want to talk about just drills, man. Like how do you drill these guys? Do they all live close enough to each other to run drills on the field, or is it kind of like you expect them to run drills on their own? Like how's that work? How do you make them play together?
So a number of the guys in the camp live in Montreal. So usually when we do practice weekends, we'll do a Saturday and Sunday. Depending on the weekend, right before Atlantic City, we actually did a Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday practice. So some of the guys will come out from Montreal and come stay at my place for the weekend. I'll house 2 to 3 guys in my bachelor pad here. It's quite cozy, but gets the job done.
Yep.
And yeah, we'll run a full weekend practice. So we'll do guys will practice lanes. They'll practice their guns, like their shooting.
Mm-hmm.
They'll practice their diving. They'll practice their breakouts. So I'll drill them through. Anywhere between 30 and 80 10-second breakouts on a practice weekend. Like I'm putting, like they're putting in reps when it comes to their 10-second breakouts. A lot of guys find that kind of stuff annoying, but that's what you need. You need to get reps in your movements, right? If you want to be hitting those shots.
It's the boring stuff that pays off.
Exactly. So every like month and a half or so, what we'll do is when we start practice, we'll start with dry drills. So then I'll get them to practice stuff like their hip slides, their crawling, their diving, just to get those reps in so that they don't hurt themselves. And then I'll get them to do reps with, running out to the corner and hip sliding and getting into your bunker. Okay, cool. You do a couple reps of that. Now do a couple reps of it where you're doing that, but you're running and shooting for the guy at the home so that he doesn't shoot you while you run out to the corner. Now do 10 to 15 reps of that. You gotta keep the repertoire of basics sharp. If you're not keeping your basics sharp, like they're gonna let you down 100% of the time.
Absolutely. That was one thing
You know,
we did in rugby, was the most boring actions. Like
yeah,
we would spend an hour just not it kind of you'd run towards somebody and then roll off them. That was it.
yeah,
And then you get in line and then you do it again and you're just rolling. You're not tackling, you're just rolling off them. But that instinct gets built, that muscle memory gets built. So when you do get tackled, you roll off it. And, so you get that, the basics down. Cameron's dropping a whole paragraph into the chat here. Breakout practice was really nice when I got the tag along with the strict union guys at one of their practices last year. As a new player, it really helped me understand the different ways I would need to play the break in order to avoid constantly getting out off the bell. And it's true. Like there is a rhyme and a reason to how to get off the break without getting taken out off the break.
yeah,
Now, it can happen, but there's ways around it. And you got your guys practicing and running those reps. And I'm assuming you must figure out multiple, like, where everybody's going to go off the break, that kind of thing. So, curious. You see it sometimes with the, that was loud. I've seen it sometimes where you see the guys, kind of like they're like hovering right, and then that split second before the buzzer goes, they snap left, and then they're off in a different direction. It's obviously, it looks like they're trying to hide their intentions. Is that practiced at all? Like, do you actively practice that as a team, or is that just something that people just do?
Yeah. So we'll get the guys to try to fake out the other team so that they can't really see what's telegraphed to be coming in the play. So I know that one thing we do is we call field codes down the field. So we'll call blue, red, or roulette for different codes. And based on what I'm calling gives the guys on the box an idea of where the guys are coming from.
Yep.
We'll also do stuff like calling 2-1-2 or 1-3-1 if we think it's 2D side, 1 middle, and 2 snake side.
Mm.
So we'll call 2-1-2. Have different codes for knowing where the guys are going. It makes a big difference off the hops so that the guys know what's coming at them. And then if they're changing up their position, it's just throwing the other team's coaches that are doing the same thing as us. It's just going to throw them off if they change up their position.
For sure. I just always wondered if that was properly practiced, if that was something that was actually done and drilled. That's awesome.
So
go ahead.
The guys won't practice it too often. But it's like with the practice, like with the 10-second breakouts and the running and shooting.
Yeah.
Like consistency won't guarantee that you'll get better, but not being consistent will guarantee that you won't get better. So.
That's, yeah. It's better to be at least a little bit better than just not doing anything and being like, we're going to wing it. Because that doesn't work. Yeah. Even
1% better a day is 365% better each year.
Ooh. I've even seen it at street ball where we would do pickup teams where the team that took 10 seconds to hammer out a plan, even if it was the most basic of plans of like before they even get on the field, what bunker are you going to go to, and then what's the second bunker you're going to go to. That's as far as the plan got because they only had a couple of seconds to talk. Also, one of them's an experienced paintballer. 3 of them are okay, and then one of them has no idea what they're doing. So it's a great mix, but you definitely see it. The teams that have some amount of planning seem to do really, really well. So we got about half an hour left. I wanted to get into some stories. I want to get some war stories. So I want to hear like the good, the bad, the ugly of like your coaching career because I want people to hear all sides of it, all the aspects. So let's do the good stuff first. We'll get it because nobody cares about the good stuff. They're gonna want to know like the bad stuff. It's gonna happen. It's the way people are. But I want to hear about your successes, man. I want to hear about your wins. Hear about like the days where you're like, yes, I'm killing it.
So, days where it felt like I was killing it coaching. To start this season off, E1 with our D4 team for Quebec Nordiques.
Hmm.
So this event, contrary to what I was saying earlier, I was playing and coaching, but some of the games I would just step back and coach 100%, and some of the games I would say, okay, guys, I can see some of you're losing your level, you're losing your level-headedness, so I'm gonna step in and I'm gonna come out on the field because I was rostered with the team for the event. So then I'd get on the field and I'd say, hey guys, like, hey, what do you see? What's stopping you? Really walk the guys through. Hey, it's okay to have a basic conversation out there.
Hmm.
So, but once the team was through prelims, I just kind of hung out on the sidelines and let the guys push through. Had a couple of the guys on the team say, like one of the players on the team looked at me. He's like, "Hey, coach, whenever I play on a team, I only always get second, and I feel like I'm part of the reason why we get second every time. So you need to put someone else in." So I'm like, you know what? No, you have to go in this point, and this was overtime for the gold. I'm like, you have to go in and play this point, or else this is going to be a mental block for you for the next event, and then the next event, and then the next event. So you have to go do it.
I was immediately thinking that. I'm like, no, this dude's got a brutal mental block.
Yeah, it's and he's still working on it, but it's in a much better place now that he knows that he can win with his team around him. It's not just like a single player game. It's
No.
a team unit, and it's he was saying after the event, he was saying, it feels really good to have a group of people behind me that are all trying as hard as I am to win. And it's like, yeah, exactly. Like we were out there in the cold practicing for Vegas. We played Vegas. The Vegas result wasn't so well, but then we came off of that bit poor Vegas result with conviction to come back and get a win. So
let's dig into that mental block part of it there. Is that something you as a coach that you find that every team experiences, and like you have to kind of figure out which players got it and how to break through it? Is that like, walk me through that process? How do you do that?
yeah, so as a coach, I gotta assess my players in a couple different ways. So first of all, mental. How's their mental doing this day?
Yep.
I'll check in with the guys in the morning. Check in with them, hit them with a handshake and a high 10 to check in with them in the morning. And usually the energy levels I get, it's good for me to be able to like check in with them right away, see who's hyped up, see who's in their head. But then once the games get started, we've got a class if the guys are having an A day, a B day, or a C day.
Mm-hmm.
So the way we class that is a B day is their normal consistent day of paintball. Say if their normal is like they're getting a kill, and some points they're getting a second kill, but then they're dying. That's like their B day. But then an A day is like, hey, I'm going out there, my communication's good, I'm making good bumps, I'm winning my gunfights.
Mm-hmm.
That would be an A day. Like I'm popping off today. I'm hot stuff right now. Like that's an A day. So and then a C day is like, hey guys, I'm swinging below my below my strength right here, and I'm not really performing. That's what we'd call a C day. So I've got to gauge the guys' mental, and then I've got to gauge them on the field how they're playing.
Cool. So you've got some tools. Like, how do you handle when they're having a bad day? Like right off that bat, like you give that high 10, and they're like, you're just like, there's something wrong here. Like
yeah. So some of the guys on the team, like some of my guys, if they're not doing too hot, like I just need to like get them kind of like hyped up or like loosened up before the game. So, in Atlantic City, the guys are getting pretty tight, pretty serious. So, started whipping paintballs at them, nunchuck squeegees at them, get them playing around, get them out their head. Some of the guys I know that if they're in their head and they're not playing very well, I need to bench them. But then, you know, if I bench them for 2-3 points, then when I'm like, hey, where's my 5 guys? They're standing right next to me, like, hey, coach, I'm ready to go. Put me
Nice.
in. I want to play. So it's really about knowing the guys, right? So some guys come off really hot-headed, you know, and if you look at them and go, calm down, it doesn't do anything for them, right? But one
Nobody has
thing I've
ever
got the
calmed
guys,
down being
yeah,
told calm down.
calm down, right? Yeah. So one thing that I get the Nordiques camp to do is that we'll put our hands in, and you know when you do your like 1-2-3 team, you
Yeah.
know. But what we'll do is we'll start by, you know, taking a minute to take some like good solid breaths. You know, like we breathe in on the way up and we exhale on the way down. Get a good couple breaths. So then if I need a guy to chill, I'll just grab him on the arms and I'll be like, look at me, look at me. You know, like just breathe, because that's all they need, right?
Yep.
It's really, they just need to take a really deep breath, you know, help get some oxygen in their system, a little bit of adrenaline will dump, and then they'll be like, okay, what did you see, what did you kill, and what killed you if you died, you know? So
Yeah.
so getting guys to take a breath, take a step back, and be like, okay, I'm in the pit with my team now, we've got to make the strategy for the next point so that we can get the win. That's really what like having a coach in the pit really helps with, because then, you know, if I was playing every event, you know, I might find myself breathing really heavy, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, go into
like
caveman mode kind of thing. You're not getting all that oxygen like you need it. And it's funny because some people I know, like again, in my years of paintball, I've seen it, and I've seen guys come off hot-headed, and then you give them 10, 15 minutes, and after they've gotten some air, they suddenly calm down.
exactly.
And in rugby, we're really big on, like, a lot of people laugh at this, right? And they're just like, like, you guys got to hold hands and take breath. I'm like, yeah, you do. Like, I know you're laughing at it, but it helps. It works. Like, it's, you know?
Yeah.
It's that stuff that a lot of people look at and they go, oh, that's stupid. Like, it's not. It works so well.
Yeah, it's, you know, just taking a breath. One thing I've noticed. So, one thing I've noticed is like my nose doesn't work as well as I'd like it to. So if I wear a nasal strip, like I do when I go to bed, when I go play paintball, it helps me a lot.
I've seen
Like
that a couple of times.
guys on the team, they've been putting the nasal strips on because, you know, like me, they have a harder time breathing when they sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, if you're gonna breathe 10% better with a nasal strip on, you know, even if it's that small, you know, take that 10%, because that's 10%. You know, like it's like every percent you can get that you're gonna get more efficient performance, you know, more consistent performance. Like take the small bits, you know.
Absolutely. That's funny you should mention that, because I noticed that we were at NME's Joust in out there in Ontario, and man, there's some hard players out there. They're skilled guys out there. Like I was intimidated. I had a blast, had a ton of fun. It was so much fun. Everyone there was amazing, but I noticed like a couple of the players had nasal strips on. And I'd never seen that before. And I was just like, at first I thought it was a bandage. I was like, damn, like, what did I miss when I went to sleep?
Yeah.
And then I saw it was a nasal strip, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I get it now, right? Like,
yeah.
And I mean, I've got a new pair, new to me, pair of Grills 2.0s. Not the greatest mask in the world, but it was better than the not having a mask. And that thing's tight on my nose. So I'm thinking I might try a nasal strip just to try and mitigate a bit of that.
Yeah. And honestly, like, what is it? Like, if you ever, like, snore or whatnot, like, a lot of the guys on the team, they snore. So when we go to events, when we're traveling, I'm packing, like, at least 100 nasal strips when we go as a camp.
Yep.
Because I know, like, guys aren't going to bring them, right? You know, so, like, guys are just going to go to their room, they're going to snore because they can't breathe. But what is it? Sleep MD makes this like mouth guard that if you snore, you put it in your mouth, brings your bottom jaw forward a little bit, and
Yep.
no more snoring.
Yeah, it helps with the it's the back part of the throat relaxes too much, and then it closes off.
Exactly.
And folks, sleep apnea is a legitimate thing. If you need a CPAP machine, no shame, get one. I don't have one. I don't think I need one, but Tom had one or has one. I don't think he needs it anymore. But when we used to travel for paintball, he'd bust out this little CPAP machine in the hotel, and I'd be like, "That's CPAP." And he's like, "Yep." He strapped that sucker on, and that man would sleep like the dead. Like, it was so good.
Yeah. So when we're traveling as a team, we need to organize the Airbnbs so that we know that the people who snore are together and they're like as far away from everybody else in the house as possible. Because if we can keep them away, that means we can keep everybody's rest as regular and consistent as it is at home.
Absolutely.
Right? So the guys who snore, they don't really recognize each other because they're all just snoring together.
Man, yes, and it's so hard to sleep on the road. Like, I don't sleep well in hotels. I don't sleep well, and I don't think anybody does. I don't sleep well not home.
Yeah.
At least for the first couple of nights. Then you'll acclimatize to it. Or acclimate, I guess. And is that something you guys... Do you keep the boys in check on that, where it's just like, are you like, it's 9 p.m., go to bed? Or...
Yeah, so Atlantic City was an interesting one. So Vegas, yes. And we had the convenient part of Vegas being that the time difference.
Yep.
We had to be out at the field at 6:30 in the morning to prep for our games.
Mm-hmm.
But like we didn't have an issue with that because of the time difference. So it actually worked out that we would get up at like 8 a.m. our time, and it'd be like we were getting up dirt early in Vegas. So that worked for us there. But it's like Atlantic City, we had two teams. D4 was in the morning and D3 was in the afternoon because of the NXL schedules.
Mm-hmm.
So the D4 guys would go to sleep, and then the D3 guys would be up for like another two hours, maybe 3 hours, because they were going later in the morning, right? Because the D4 guys, they'd go like an hour and a half before their game to the field. Meanwhile, the D3 guys would go like 30 minutes before the D4 game because they're just helping out, right?
Yeah. Cameron Bro's got a comment. He says, "You're the team mom bringing the essentials." I mean,
well
yeah.
Yeah, you know, bring my little first aid kit. I bring my paintball marker with my hopper and whatnot. Just make sure we have an extra marker. You know, it really helps to have a little bit of extra everything when you're going to travel for an event, because it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Because once you're in that need it and not have it, that's another trip you guys need to take after your day at the field. Yep. Whereas, you know, that's really important time that you could say, hey guys, let's get back to the B&B. You have your team meeting. Say it takes 30 minutes to 45 minutes. You have your team meeting, and then you guys can go. You know, then it's like, by that time, once you're back from the field, it's already like 7 o'clock, 7:30.
Yeah. So
it gives you like time to get showered, because you're sharing a shower with like 10 other people, right? But you know, it gives you enough time to get showered and relax for a bit before you inevitably have to go to bed for the next day at paintball.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I had a thought and I lost it. Well, anyways. Sorry. Oh, the having extra gear. That's what it was at NME.
Yeah.
We chronoed the marker. Everything worked fine. Put it down. Got it like going. We're doing the joust 1v1, right? So it's fast, right? They're like 15-second points tops. And I'm on deck. Great. I get on deck, turn on the hopper, doesn't turn on. I'm like, what do I? So I'm thinking like, okay, shit, I need a new hopper, and it's just like, nope. Here's a whole other kit. Just take this, go. Like don't waste time looking for a hopper. Buddy just hands me the thing fully set up. Let's go. This is great. That is how it should be done. That's the best way to do it. Now, mind you, I was handed I think a CS2, and I have no idea. Like, I'd never fired a CS2 in
Yeah.
a speedball match, so I'm just like, hope I figure this out quick. Let's go.
Yeah.
And I mean, I got taken out pretty quick, but it was fun.
Well, that's the joy of the paintball community, right? Hey, you know, my stuff's not working. Here you go.
Yeah, here's my
get 'em,
$1,400 marker. Here you go. Go take that on the field.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta. Speaking of which, I gotta fix my axe. I think the board got fried while we were there because it rained the entire time we were there, and I did a great job of keeping it dry the entire time. And then I think the night before, I kind of just left it out in the trailer. When we came back to the trailer, we brought all the gear back, put it down, and I was like, whatever, I'll just pack it up tomorrow. Water got into the barrel, and then it must have run down the barrel into the bolt, and then probably leaked down into the solenoid or into the board itself. So
Yeah.
I gotta play around with it. If you put the battery in, it turns on and won't turn off. It's great.
Oh, gotcha.
So yeah. Good times.
You know, funny enough, I have a first gen axe in my gear bag right now.
I love the axe, man. I loved my mini. I had that invert mini for years. I ran that mini. I bought that mini for $150, like in like 2012, and it officially got retired last year. Like, I ran that thing for ages. I ran it into the ground. It was a mini too. It's not exactly a super high performance marker, but it was a beast.
Yeah, you should shadow box it.
I still have it. It's kind of just been put aside, but I was thinking about shadowboxing it, but I've got nowhere to put it, and I know Brittany will not let me put it anywhere in the apartment. So
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I definitely am keeping it, and it's getting like mounted into a shadow box for sure when I eventually have a man cave. I don't know when or if that'll ever happen.
Nice. Yeah. What is it? I want to eventually like frame the Commando ref jerseys that I've had done up over the past couple of seasons.
Nice.
You know, just
dig that.
There's been a couple different iterations of them, so it's been nice to see the change over the years.
Yeah, and those jerseys always look good. Like boom, like on the wall in a nice frame. Like they always look good, man. They always look good. So we got 12 minutes left. Let's talk about some lessons you've learned as a coach. Like what's I assume that you've had many successes and you've probably had a few missteps. So what's some great lessons that you learned the hard way?
Great lessons learned the hard way is learning that you had the wrong read on a layout can definitely be a rough turn of events when it comes to playing in a tournament. But sometimes as much as you think you're prepped and you have a really solid game plan as a crew, when you come out to the event, the dice just aren't in your field. Say, this past weekend in Atlantic City, our Division 4 team took 4th and our Division 3 team took 29th. Right, so that's a mixed bag right there, right? So game plan that worked for one division didn't work for the other division, and that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. And so our D3 guys, really tough loss to take on the chin that they didn't get to go past prelims.
Well.
And then the D4 guys, they've got the hit on the chin to take that, hey, we were that close. And we just couldn't get over that semi-final hurdle.
It's almost. I think it would almost hurt more to come into 4th than in the 20s. Like you're just so close, right? Like just so close. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's different levels of a kick in the jaw.
Yep.
But both teams will learn from it. So the D4 team played Vegas, and they had a similar result that the D3 team had. Like, they were very bottom of the bucket. They won one game. We tied no, we won a game, we tied a game, and we lost 2 by 1 point. So, we didn't get stomped in Vegas with the D4 team, but, they got 1 win, but that's it, right? So the
Gotcha.
D3 team, they managed to make, we had different levels of goals, right? Like get a point, then get a game. Then once you get a game, okay, let's get 2, and then let's see if we can make Sunday. So, we made 2 goals. We didn't make Sunday. So that's the next goal for the D3 team. The D4 team, now the expectation is that, hey guys, we know that we can perform at this level. So now the onus is on the guys to keep themselves sharp, so that when it comes time to cup in November, that they're sharp and that they're coming ready to play and execute on the game plan, because they know now, hey, we can make it through prelims and we can make it to semifinals. So let's go to cup, let's make semifinals, and let's push it to the finals this time.
Yeah.
Right? So that's, they know, playing OPS, they know, hey, we can go, we can get a gold, or hey, we know we can go and we're gonna make semifinals, like because they took a first and then they took a, they didn't make it through semifinals, but that's still a good performance, especially since they're in competition for series now.
Yeah, they're moving up, right? It's big. It's the big fish, little pond, right? Like it's you won gold, great. Okay, now time to get better by playing against someone who is better, and
exactly.
And you gotta, what is it, 1 step or 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of situation, right? You're gonna get there, and then you're gonna get beaten down, but that's the only way to get better. The only way to get better is to play against somebody who's better than you.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's like for a lot of the guys too. Some of them get a little bit, say, dejected or demotivated when it comes to practicing, just because hey, we took a tough loss, but we know we can get gold from the past. A lot of the guys will say, oh hey, they were just better than me this day.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, hey, it's cool to say, yeah, they were better than you that day. We know that, right? But hey, compared to where you started the season off, where you started the season off skill-wise, and where you started with working in this team unit, compare that to how it is now. Would you say you've gotten better? Yeah. Okay, then you have nothing to be disappointed about. Work harder so that when you do this again in a month or in 2 months, you said, okay, yeah, I've gotten better again from where I was 2 months ago.
That's just it. Yeah, you got to look at you got to look back every once in a while and realize how far you've come.
Yeah, so. Like unwavering accountability, and taking small wins, right?
Absolutely.
Taking small wins and enjoying them, because sometimes the small wins are the only wins you're gonna get for a while. Because winning's loyal to no one.
Winning's loyal to no one. I love that. That is fantastic. I love that so much. That's got to go on a shirt, man. That's got to be like on a jersey somewhere. Winning is loyal to no one. Love that.
Yeah.
So we got about 6 minutes, give or take. I want to talk best practices. Like, let's say somebody wants to get into coaching. What do you got for them?
So if you're looking to get into coaching, try to, like, one thing that made me want to get back into coaching this year was with the league running and the beer league tournaments running over the past like 4-5 seasons. I really got to watching a lot of paintball and watching the theory of the game breakdown. Hey, who's the quarterback in this play? Who has the ball? Who's shot calling? Right, making sure that if you're hot 5, if there's no one on that hot 5 that really roots in the communication, well, I'm gonna take one of those hot 5 guys and he's gonna sit so that I can get someone out there who's gonna communicate and help push that point to fruition. Okay. So if you're looking to coach, if you're watching pro teams play, instead of watching and looking for like, oh, that was a really cool elimination there, look at those points and be like, okay, if I was the coach in the pit and I was watching this, my guys, they've got so much room to work with on this snake side, but they're not utilizing that, even though the other team is just, sitting all their guns on the D side. So that's, looking at small weaknesses like that from the sideline. If you can start recognizing those, that's the kind of stuff that would help you and help your team while you're coaching. If you're looking to coach, a good thing to do is, maybe look at some like leadership books. When it comes to like managing people, there's like plenty of good books out there that you can read. Like me, I like to use Audible. So it's like if you use Audible, you can get all your audiobooks in one spot. And yeah, it's like one that was like a really good one for me when it came to coaching was taking player feedback. So it's like a book called How to Listen with Intention, by Patrick King. It's great. So then when you come to listen to your players when they come off the field, you can really break down, okay, like I hear what this guy's saying, and if I'm listening with intention, like I can hear like this guy's like really winded right now, and he's talking super fast. So I got to tell him to chill. Like, hey man, take a second, breathe. Thank you for the information. Go tell that to this guy, but make sure you take a breath. Right? So it's like when you're looking to get into coaching, like look to find small things, not only that the players can improve on, but that you can improve on as the coach. So that means taking the earnest to sit down, like when we sat down and had our team meeting Saturday. Some of the guys were guesting, so we sat down and I said, hey guys, for everybody here, is there anything I could be doing out there for Sunday that will help me be a better coach to you? Because if you need me to do that, you need to tell me now, or I'm not going to be able to do it, and then it's your fault if I'm not doing it.
Right.
Luckily everybody said like no, that like the coaching was good, but like just being able to say, if you're gonna sit there and say, hey, you could do this to get better, or you could do that to get better, like as a coach, you should at least be doing small stuff to try to be getting better yourself, and taking the earnest to, again, like make sure that you're giving the players what they need from you as a coach. Because if you're not doing that, like your main thing is people management, right?
Yeah.
So you will have to manage people and their relationships within the team, and keeping everybody kosher and on the same page. Because if you can't manage them just as people, like you're gonna lose them when it comes to the chaos of a paintball game when you're down 3 points. Right?
Exactly. Okay, so we're pretty much at the end of the show. We've got about a minute 20 seconds left. So real quick, take 15 seconds. Who do you want to shout out?
Want to shout out David Murray at Commando Action Center. Want to shout out Louis at Core Outdoors GI Sports. He helps out with CPS and with the Nordiques as well with our GI sponsorships.
Awesome. Love that guy. I was actually talking to him at Commando. So, man, it was great having you on. It was great chatting with you and learning all sorts of good stuff. So I hope everyone who stuck around chit-chatting with us, liking and commenting and sharing and all that, I hope you enjoyed your show too, and I hope you liked it. And for those of you listening out there on the airwaves of 97.9 FM CHSR, I really hope you enjoyed it. And if you're ever curious about paintball at all, please find us on Facebook, social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. It's all Maritime Paintball Podcast. You'll find us. And Corey, they can find pretty much CPS, Commando Action Center, just you, yeah. Corey.
yeah. Corey Lamkin on Facebook and Instagram, or Capital Paintball Series on Facebook as well.
Awesome. All right, folks, that's it. We're out of here. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Until next week, cheers.